This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's go. Get on your mark, let's go. What you waiting for? There's so much more. The future's yours. Let go, explore. It's yours for sure. Sing with me with fear. So to God I stay near. I keep my hand to the plow. There's no turning back now. My future look bleak. I decided to see. He said follow me. On a journey you'll see. Get on your mark, let's go. What you waiting for? There's so much more.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Sunday night, and this is Lessons from the Journey, Making the Brand Masterclass. I'm your host, creator, host, inventor, songwriter, Shawnell Brown. I'm all the things, and I don't know. Tonight feels very serious to me. I'm getting to reveal my babies to you. What is making the brand? What is masterclass? Well, let me tell you what making the brand is first. Making the brand is about the brand of you, authentically you. The core of the SLB brand is authenticity and truth. And it is based and it's rooted and grounded in my mission. And what is my mission? My mission is to glorify God by being authentically and only what I was created to be and help others do the same. That's it. So anything that you see me doing should tie right back to that. So that brings us to tonight's show. We're on episode 3. We've gone through vision and mission statement. Last week we tackled motives. This week we tackle methods. Now, what does all of this come from? What is all this about? What is making the brand about? I created something called the brand blueprint for my Making the Brand agency, Making Your Brand agency. And in creating that blueprint, the first thing that was revealed to me was that the vision that is placed down on the inside of each human can only be revealed to the human by God. And it is absolutely detrimental to our beingness to grasp this vision. And then the next piece of the puzzle that has to be put in place is the mission. But the mission is broken down into two sides, into two halves. The root mission, which cannot be shaken or shifted. What does that mean, Sean? I'll give you an example. My mission, as I stated earlier, is to glorify God in everything I do and help others do the same, right? When I was in the hospital with brain surgery and I couldn't talk, I couldn't see, I couldn't speak, I could still do my mission. It can't shake or shift by circumstances. It is what it is. A cat is a cat because it was meant to be a cat. Now, the root mission, like I said, it can't be shaken, shifted. The core mission, the other side of the coin, is what you were created to do. That should be manifesting in the earth by what you're doing. Mine is to unite and change the world together. That means that when I step into the room, I'm focused on unity and change for every person in that space. So if I'm acting counter to that, what would that look like? Creating strife, causing arguments, gossip, right? Tearing people down from their, then you know I'm not operating inside of my brand blueprint. And then motives. My motive is pure. It's love. It's to love. It's to honor God and love people. Honor God, love people. If I don't show up in a space where my motive reflects love, I'm not living in the authenticity of who God created me to be. That means I'm operating outside of my brand blueprint. And tonight we're going to tackle methods, which is my absolute favorite. I'm going to tell you why it's my favorite. Because everybody wants to get to the fruit, but nobody wants to deal with the root. And before I introduce my partner in crime, Marina Vila, I want to say this to you, that if you don't want to suffer sexy, which is why I wore this sweatshirt out of our collection, if you don't want to go through suffering, you don't want to be yourself. Your products are built from our trials and challenges. We were created to solve problems in the earth. And how we do that is by overcoming trials and challenges that plague us and then turning the development into products that make life simple, which is the core of what we do, make life simple. So, Marina, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can grill me like a cheeseburger.
Hi, everybody. I am Marina Villa and want to welcome everybody to this third episode of Making Your Brand. Um, Now, there is a lot that we've already talked about in the first two episodes alone. And the whole idea of your pain points turn into the products and solutions. Now, Sean has a plethora of
Mhm.
products. In fact, what we call it is the campus,
Yeah.
if you will. So, we're going to walk you through at least some of the doors that lead you into that campus. And in doing so, we're going to start with just a few key ones, anchor ones, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that in mind, Sean, can you take us through a couple of these brands today? Maybe start with one that you really anchored with, and talk about that pain point, and walk us through the solution that turned into the product for you.
I have to talk about making the brand since making your brand, it is making your brand. It's an agency, and now it has an AI division coming very shortly that will be managed and operated by my son in love. I'm very excited that God is giving us this. But the reason that making your brand came to be is because I looked out at brands, businesses, influencers, and even myself, right? And I wasn't operating as myself. So then my product was really one of for survival, right? And when we make products for survival and not purpose, we operate them like that. And the people become pawns in the game. And just heard God say, listen, I need you to manage brands that I built. And it goes back to scripture, really. And I believe it's Jeremiah 1:5. He said, I knew you before I formed you in the womb of your mother. And it clicked right there. It's like, oh, that's a brand. God is a brand developer and manager. And each one of us has a brand blueprint that he expects us to live out so that the world can function like a regular ecosystem. And he goes, now, good. Making your brand, make YOU capital, because if the person doesn't want to be themselves as I designed them, they don't want to work with you.
So we're talking about true authenticity.
True, true. I mean, to the from the root to the toot,
Authenticity.
authentic. I mean, and anybody that's worked with me, if you watch, lessons from the journey live, I've been doing lessons from the journey live. You see some of the brands I've worked with. I have to bring up Kelly Renee, right? Her interview actually airs tomorrow, or it airs. I'm sorry, it airs. It airs last week. I don't know. I don't know. I get confused. Um, but her brand, I watched it go from a person who was on the verge of, it felt like suicide,
Okay.
to becoming, in essence, a fitness champion, going through a divorce, I would learn that she was a victim of domestic violence. I mean, it was so deep and so heavy. And I said, her name means, her name Kelly Renee. Renee means born again. And I'm watching God's brand take shape like a flower, right? It's been 2 years since I've been working with her, but she asked me, "Do you see me different?" And I said, "Oh, I see you different. I see you developing. Are you where you want to be? No. But from 2 years ago to today, you are in process." And that's what this is about.
So what are you seeing not only through Kelly Renee, but maybe other brands that we're working with now? What are you seeing now that perhaps you see a path for development toward authenticity?
Oh gosh. You know, um, Stephanie Sherwood.
Okay.
She is one I've been working with for years. We've been working together for years. And in the matter of weeks, what I love about what we do, we get to marry the brands together. So Pastor B's brand, right? Pastor B's prayer methods, and then meshing them together with Stephanie Sherwood has given Stephanie Sherwood new life. Her going through 3 days of prayer has, she just emerged as herself. I'm watching her on TikTok, you guiding her through the agency. It is like we are creating a functional ecosystem for these people to heal, grow, and be themselves through all 7 key areas of growth and development, from spiritually to emotionally. We have it lock, stock, and barrel covered. And those that really want to pursue being themselves are just jumping into it and transforming, not without pain, not without discomfort, but through the discomfort to victory on the other side. It's so amazing.
So talk about this a little bit more, because we do talk to and work with brands one on one, but we also look at intersecting them.
Yes.
And the reason we also look at intersecting them is because of the concept of community.
Yes, we're a communal company.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
can you talk us through some of those ideas and how they intersect into perhaps the other brands um, of the company as well?
Okay, so this is very exciting to me because I did not know that. I knew I was creating something new,
Yeah.
but I didn't know to what degree. And it was prophesied a couple years ago that I was a Black woman in tech. Well, I'm from the Silicon Valley. I went to Homestead High School, which is the same high school that the founder of Steve, I think Steve Jobs. No, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. It's either Steve Jobs or I get them confused. Yeah, I think it's Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs went to Homestead High School. It is Steve Jobs. Sorry. So you know, when I heard I'm a Black woman in tech, I was like, oh, I don't get how am I tech. Well, a couple weeks ago, I realized I got the word in my head, biocommunal.
Mhm.
And biocommunal technology is exactly what we create. We create spaces, lanes, bridges, and pathways that bring people together for the sole purpose of helping them develop into themselves. We
Right.
do it through media as medicine, right? This is medicine, right? I'm not out here trying to just entertain you, even though I am entertaining, right? I make the music,
Yep.
you know what I mean? I'm creating the shows. I turn my life into a show. So entertainment is a part of it. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't help the person grow and learn and become better, then I wasted their time. So biocommunal technology is bringing everything together, community in the virtual space, which filter down into community and events and activities in the physical space. So it is to me, it's Disneyland for growth and development, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
And to go inside of this biocommunal, this community, a community runs and it needs products in order for it to run. The main artery of our community is root system reboot. It
Okay.
is the fascia. And if anybody knows what fascia is, fascia connects the whole body together and it sends the body messages. So, root system reboot is really, I call it life management. It's
Hmm.
life management skills. So, you master the game of life by managing the game of life. And what I learned through a lot of problems and pain points was, one, I didn't understand that I wasn't managing my life, that in a lot of areas, life was living me. Go ahead.
Explain that a little bit more.
Okay.
Now, even going back, if there's any examples going back to even from our episode 1, episode 2,
Mhm.
that triggered that thought process. Can you walk us through that?
So, episode 1, we really learned about the genesis of how I came up and how I was formed. The Bible says he knew me before he formed me, right? So there was an ideal form for me. But once I got to the earth, I was shaped by human hands. And those human hands reformed my way of thinking and being and doing about myself. So what you learned is I was born to a single mother, two teenagers, a father, schizophrenic, right? This created a belief system, a wrong belief system, mindset, emotional brokenness, places where I never developed. Well, that gives birth to needing a root system reboot. If you think about it, right? You think about a garden that is dying, right? If I go and I pull it all up by the roots, it can, and I reseed it, it can start again. And that same thing that was dead becomes living. And that's what God showed me. He said, my people need a root system reboot. They need to be rebooted spiritually. They need to
Mm,
decide who they are, what they believe, how did they get here. Most people are living and they don't even know why they're here,
right.
right? So that spirit, what roots you to this life? Why are you here? That goes back to the blueprint, right? Vision, and then you're right into your mission. If you
Yes.
don't know that, what are you doing every day? How are you can only be surviving. Then it went down to the emotional, and I love this. The first thing to develop in a baby is the heart, not the mind.
Mm,
It's the heart. So if the heart coming from God is programmed to, I look at my baby, right? He came from God, he's fresh. But when he starts being formed and shaped in the womb experience, what is he drinking in through that amniotic fluid? What kind of emotions? What is he experiencing outside? That is starting to shape him as a human, right? And then when you're born, then people start to teach you, right?
right.
So the emotional part of it, I, get think about my emotional, my ACEs, adverse child experiences score was a 9 out of 10. 9, what she told me, the doctor told me who gave me the score said, you won't be here past 52 based on your ACEs study if you don't make changes. I was 48 at the time. And she said these changes have to happen internally. My heart was wounded, broken, shut down, and locked. It couldn't function. The heart then informs the emotions in the heart, inform the mind of how to react and what to think about itself. So, where we spend so much time on the mental, what God showed me was the heart's informing the mind. And I'm
Mm,
like, which gave me heart and mindset of a champion, which goes inside of that ecosystem of root system reboot.
okay.
And then the fourth piece, the fourth key was physically. Everybody's trying to fix the problems on the outside. I go to the gym, I ride my bike, I do the this, I do the that, I get Botox, I get that. But the problem started in key number 1 and it trickled down into key number 2. And then it shows up in key number 3 and key number 4. But here's what's crazy. Those are what we call the core 4. The core 4 is all of you. You as an individual. Give you some Bible. Jeremiah 29:11. I know the plans I have for you. The real you. The one he formed in the womb. That's what he has plans for. But our development through life teaches us to plan for survival, not for purpose. And it manifests in that fourth key. Now, when we get into key 5, relationships, you're bringing you into key 5. So let me tell you what my root system development plan is, or what I'm having to, where I'm starting, my problems and pain points for this
Mm-hmm.
season.
Yep.
Spiritually, he said, you are dysregulated. Emotionally, oh wait, did I say no? Hypervigilant. Spiritually, you're hypervigilant. Emotionally dysregulated. Mentally, you're numb, which means that for all of those things in your physical body will heal itself when you deal with those first three. So then I'm bringing a hypervigilant, dysregulated, emotionally numb person into my relationships.
Okay. So with that, how did you process all of that as as you're sitting where you're sitting, and then starting to think about these methods of how to pull yourself out of, or how do you further develop yourself from where you were at that point?
So right away, God starts to reveal the answers if you're seeking,
Okay.
right? And so, hold on, I got to get scripture one more time, and I just can't think of it off the top of my head, but it's in Hebrews 11. Let me just share this with you really quick. Hebrews 11:5. Hold on, y'all. No, I'm not going to worry about it. Hebrews 11. Give me a second. In the message. To me, give it to me, give it to me. There you are. All right, listen to this. It's impossible to please God apart from faith. And why? Because anyone who wants to approach God must believe both that he exists and he cares enough to respond to those who seek him. See,
Mm,
a lot of us believe God exists. We just don't believe that he cares enough to respond, so we don't seek. I was seeking. Remember, when you start looking and listening to lessons from the journey, the songs talks about that, right? It talks about the seeking. I was seeking him actively. I wanted solutions to my problems and pain points. And as I sought him for my problems and pain points, he started to unpack. The problem is you don't manage your life. You don't tend to the garden I gave
mm,
you have determined spiritually that the way you've been doing it is cool, but you've never sought my advice on it. You're not seeking me emotionally to tend to the dryness and the cracks in your heart. You're not even acknowledging me. You're filled with coping mechanisms. So as he started to reveal it to me, then he started to show me. Then right away, I was like, well, I got to manage these keys. Then I would hear, okay, now manage them from 1 to 10. Judge it. What is it every day? How do you feel from 1 to 10 spiritually? How connected do you feel? So I started tracking them. So, really, what I'm saying to you is every method that comes out of me or out of this organization, I live it first. It's a problem and a pain point in mine or somebody close to me's life. And we start to live it out and become the solution, which then, boom, you've got root system rebuild.
what a way to express all of that. Okay. So now you started going into the keys a little bit.
Mhm.
Can you talk about that, and then also bringing into another product?
Yeah, well, seven keys, master these. That's what I said. There's a song coming. My captain Renee has been like, I need a seven keys song. But like I said, the core four, that's all about you. Key number five is your relationships. Looking to analyze your relationships. You are in all of them. So what I know to be true is that I am a direct reflection of my worst relationship. It is a direct reflection to my relationship with
Mhm.
God. So we have to take accountability. Then when we get down into key number six, that's resources. Resources are split into three categories. Your time. How do you spend your time? So if your first five keys are jacked up, you are not dedicating your time where it should be dedicated and allocated.
Okay.
Your talents. Talents are part of your methods. They're broken down. Your talents are actually talents that are given to you by God that God says you must work out, which require a development to become a skill. Most people completely ignore their talents. Why? Because the enemy comes after your talents very early. Back to the Bible, talks about the seed and the sower, that God sowed good seed into you, but the enemy sowed in horrible seed into you. And they have to grow up together. And then we have to decide if we want to go through the pruning process of becoming ourselves, or do we want to hold on to the coping mechanisms? Right. So those talents, it's a lot of us who are not living out our talents as we should. So talent management. And then the last key is financial or resource, your financial resources. If I'm living survival mode, then that means I have a horrible understanding of money as a resource for to do God's work. And let me explain it to you. Most people think if I have a certain number in the bank, I'm good, but that's not true in God's eyes because you didn't ask him. So somebody who has zero in the bank can be more in alignment with God's plan than someone who has billions and trillions. So if your resources are not being allocated the way that your brand was defined for them to be allocated, you're out of alignment with your purpose, which brings us to key six, which is purpose. And your purpose is what you're here for. So you have to decide, and everybody has to decide, do you want to be you, Coach Shawnee? Because that's where we're going.
Yep. Okay.
That's Coach Shawnee's cornerstone question. Do you want to be you? Because if you don't want to be you, then you can continue to find ways to settle, flip flop around, chase after coping mechanisms that will never satisfy you, and then ultimately end up physically and emotionally so sick that you're completely useless.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah.
Can you talk about some of your coping mechanisms?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Let's just talk about overweight.
Okay.
Overweight's a coping mechanism. I used to be almost 300 pounds. I still have 30 lbs, right?
Okay.
And so my coping mechanism, even when I got rid of the overeating habit, stuffing and holding on to pain and not allowing it to go, creates inflammation in the body, creates anxiety, and it creates fat. That has been my problem my whole life. Well, where did that come from? When I was a little kid, what I heard is you're too fat, you're too black, you're too this, you're too that. And the way that I dealt with it as a kid was eat whenever I could, and I'd eat in private. I believed it. So those are things you could think about this. I'm 55 years old. My root system is still working those things out. And I started at almost 300 pounds. I used to drink 2 liters of Coca-Cola every day. Every day. Every day. So you talk about people judging people for the type of drugs or whatever. That was a drug. It was so hard for me to get off of that. So yeah, those are just that's just one of them.
Okay.
That's
All
just one
right.
of them. That good? That good?
That's good. That's good.
I don't have a problem telling you about my problems and my pain points. Because if I don't tell you about my problems and my pain points, you will think that the things that you see me do just happened and they didn't. That's
Right.
not true. I love growth and development, and I love the process of becoming exactly what God has called me to be. And I know that every season I have to go through a shed. It's just like a tree. It's growing, it's shedding, right?
Yes.
It's the same for the life of the human. So let's get into Coach Shawnee.
Okay. Let's do it.
She's my newest persona. She is a persona underneath the Shawnee B. She lives in the Shawnee B, what do we call it, area of the campus.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But you know what I love about Coach Shawnee? She's a player coach.
Mm-hmm.
And what that means is that I am playing the game of life to win it. That means I'm not shying away every season. Like I just told you, my look at hypervigilance, I'm working on. My emotional, I'm working on, right? So all of those things are being worked out this
Yes.
season. Coach Shawnee's products are created to challenge you, help you to optimize, advise you, right? A lot of times we just need advice, and there's things that I've been through that I can help you overcome faster. Collaborate. I love collaboration. God loves collaboration. So I'm constantly, as Coach Shawnee, putting my brands together like a chess match,
Yes.
right? The perfect ingredients together to help you live well, to help you make life simple, and then lastly, heal. That is the purpose of the Coach Shawnee movement. Every Coach Shawnee incubator, clubhouse, product is designed to challenge you. So if you don't want to be challenged, you don't want Coach Shawnee.
Wow.
And she does help you really follow the game plan and make sure that you are every day managing those keys,
Mm-hmm.
looking at those keys, evaluating the keys so that at the end of your season, you should have come out grown or growner. And if you aren't growner and you're still battling with the same challenges, then that means somewhere you stopped and you decided to go back to survival mode. So Coach Shawnee and the methods that she creates, from events to the virtual spaces and the collaborations and her all-star brands, are designed to help the people live well together.
Love it.
I love it too. I love it too. You know, the other brand that is probably the anchor of all
Mm-hmm.
of them, the personas, is the hair doctor.
Okay, talk to us a little bit more about that.
She's everybody's favorite. You know, I say she's everybody's favorite because she's smart, right? She understands. She's an entrepreneur that specializes in beauty.
Mm-hmm.
All of the hair doc brands are community focused, community minded. You know, we're on the launch, right? We're working hard to create the corporation, Nele Beauty Group, that will create the multiple brands and products and ideas that will anchor the beauty industry. It's our initiative and it is our goal to have a global standard for the beauty industry, creating new ways of access for the consumer, for the manufacturer, for the beauty college future professional, and for the professional, right? We want to change what has actually, if I can be honest, has caused me great heartache since I came into the beauty industry. So, problem and pain point for the hair doctor. I feel like the beauty industry has been used to fuel racism in a lot of ways.
Okay.
We say things like, when I got into the beauty industry, we say things like black hair and white hair and black salon and white salon. And
Mm-hmm.
oh, you can do my kind of hair. But do you know when I went into the hospital, they didn't go, oh, here comes a black brain.
Mm.
Here comes black boobs.
Mm-hmm.
They said she's got a brain, it's got a tumor. She's got breasts, they have cancer. And I was like, what is fueling this, the way that we do hair? And so I set out when I opened Salon Epiphany, my own salon, to change the stigma. You know, I trained up those kids. I myself, I closed the salon on Tuesday. And what you don't know, I didn't open my salon in the 60s. I opened my salon in the 2000s, and I experienced things like that white girl's not doing my hair.
Mm.
I'll let you do my hair, but I don't know if these other black girls could do my. I experienced that in California. It was so hard. And then they would say stuff like, oh, you only care about your white styles. And I was like, what? Does this happen in any other industry? I mean, this is crazy to me. I even had, and this is no lie, my salon, you know, it was a lot of money invested in the salon. It was a very nice salon. A Caucasian man came into the salon. I was standing there doing hair. He looked at me, and I think the person I was doing must have been another nationality. And he goes, my wife is African American. Do you do black hair here? And I'm not kidding. I went, I'm black. And I do my own hair every day. Of course, we do black hair. But because of the way that the salon looked, and because there were other people, other colored people, he assumed that I didn't do it. And I thought to myself, oh, God has me in the beauty industry for more than just because I like to do hair. You know, I didn't get into it until I was in my 30s.
Okay.
I turned 30, right, when I got into the beauty industry. And the trajectory went really fast from, you know, working for someone to owning my own salon within 3 years, to being an author, to then being the hair doctor right after brain surgeries. And so, you know, I realized that the beauty industry was my pulpit, and I realized very
Mm.
quickly that it was the heart and soul of every community, because We could do a community events. We took care of the community. We were with the people when their babies were born, when their babies got married, when their parents died. The beauty professional is with you at all stages. And oftentimes, there'd be times in my salon, this is no lie, that I would be doing the wife and the mistress of a man I was cutting his hair. That is true story.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot more of those.
Oh, I've
too.
got a ton. I got a ton. It is like the beauty industry for me really helped me to embrace humanity. And it really helped me to bring all of me together because the beauty industry was the one place I was fully accepted.
Interesting.
I wasn't ugly.
You are absolutely not ugly. So from that very beginning, from all those experiences, can you take us through now what you envision and what, the whole hair doc, Nelly Beauty Group, what you set out to have now?
Oh my gosh. For the beauty, it's a conglomerate. It's almost scary. My vision is to see establish the Nelly Beauty Group corporate division in Durban, South Africa.
Okay.
In that corporate division, I want to build inside of the SLB campus a 10,000 square foot facility that is all dedicated to the beauty experience.
Walk us through the whole
Absolutely.
experience as well.
Absolutely. So I'm very blessed that my daughter is in beauty, my husband's in beauty, and I'm in beauty. My daughter's mother-in-law is in beauty. My daughter has her own vision for treatments and experience and spa-like environment. So we want to create that experience within the campus.
Okay.
My husband is a barber. He wants to create an experience for the barber that includes for the male, for the barber, for the person that wants the barber experience. He also wants to create training, education, and support, which we all do. And then for me, I want to create treatment centers, clinics. I want to have a retail space so that they can come and get their prescriptions, but we would also do drop ship. I want to create the first virtual salon experience for the people that I just don't want to go to the salon, but I need an advice nurse. Or I want to learn how to I need to cut my own hair. We learned in COVID that people could cut their own hair. One of the girls I trained from Salon Epiphany, she was making really good money helping her clients do their own bang trims.
Okay.
So what I saw was that in the beauty industry, we're so far behind, we think we're first. And because it is an $800 billion a year industry, we haven't had to grow and develop. But that's about to change.
Okay.
And the way that we're really going to drive the change is through controlling the conversation through Truth and Beauty, our media.
Okay.
And creative conversations. And Coach Linda and I are creating a clubhouse conversations room so that we can invite the people in to really start to have it. And then our boots on the ground operation with the beauty colleges from all over. So we are going straight for the children. We want to create a placement agency. We're the only agency that doesn't have a placement agency, right? So there is ways for us to innovate the beauty industry. No one has ever taken the time to do it because our dysfunction wasn't impacting them, but it's starting to impact.
Wow.
I thought that was good. I thought that really laid out my goal for the beauty industry. And remember, I want to say this, my brand is about uniting and changing. So I'm not trying to get rid of anything.
Right.
I want us all to grow as a functional ecosystem together because when one wins, we all win.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is why it's the whole vision is a campus.
Yeah, it is a campus.
Because it's not just beauty for beauty's sake. It's not just Coach Shani for Coach Shani's sake. Mm-hmm. It all interacts and it's all interrelated with one another.
Just like the ocean. How did I learn this? I went on the run tour. I call it on the run tour. I went on the run tour and I went to Florida. And while I was in Florida, I was sitting outside looking out the lanai and there were, in Florida, it's all kind of stuff, right? There was like an armadillo walking by, and then there was a cat, there was lizards, there was a snake. I saw, there was dogs. I mean, it was all the things. There was birds, and it was the trees. And what I realized is everything knew what to do. Everything was doing its thing, and everything knew what to do. And then, I had gone a couple times, and one part of the season, the tree that was right out the window at the door had these beautiful pink flowers.
Okay.
And then when I went back, I was like, well, where are the pink flowers? And my girlfriend was like, true story. I was going to chop this tree down because I thought it was ugly. And she's like, I just hadn't gotten to the arborist or whatever.
Yeah.
And she said, and then those pink flowers came. And it was like, boom. We're all created like this, and we're created to interwork together. But if she had come and cut that tree down, she would have never even seen all the phases of beauty within that tree that God created. And that the birds had a place to land and rest their little legs on. And then when it rains outside, the lizards, they run and they hide because the rain comes down between 2 and 4 every day. The lizards have a place to go, and then they come and then they get in the sun. And I was like, that's how our world is supposed to work. So that's how I envision our campus. I envision people going and experiencing the Coach Shawnee experience and experiencing the Hair Doc experience and SLB Global Media spaces and the spaces where we get to train up the generation next, right? Because as a kid growing up, I have an 8th grade education. That's it. There's no college, no nothing. I got my experience by working, reading, and doing. Working, reading, and doing. And by having mentors. And so to me, the essence of Shawnee, Paul Brand, SLB, and Shawnee is taking care of that next generation so the ecosystem can continue to function. So when you step into the campus, it should be innovation first. Innovation. Because God is innovative, right? That's why I love the AI division of making your brand and what we're planning to do with that. We get scared of innovation, but we're not going to shy away from it, and we're not going to be afraid of it. And we know that God brings new things to the earth to make life simple. To make life simple. But I talk a lot about God. And I need to talk about the ministry brands.
Okay.
Can I talk about
Absolutely.
The ministry brands? And I feel like oh gosh, somebody's gonna write me. I only say what's truly in my heart. I feel like ministry, church, and God need a makeover. They need a brand makeover.
Okay.
I just think about our conversations that we've had and, concerns about the church and the way it functions. And I had an interview with the Lane family and hearing their story and how hurt they were. And he was a pastor, right? And I'm like, okay, the way that people are treating God in church is making people not want Jesus. So as part of my ministry brands and movements, I created the Real Jesus Movement.
Okay.
And the reason I created the Real Jesus Movement, because I didn't understand him either, right? I didn't understand him at all. But what I found out when I gave him an opportunity to be himself in my life, he works. He never lied to me. He never gaslit me. Everything that he told me to do, even if on the front end had some pain attached to it, on the back end, I won. He was responsive in telling me this gonna hurt.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And so I just kept saying to myself, there's 2 products that I feel like I have to develop. One is live saved for 30 days. Most people cast out Jesus and they never even gave it a try.
All right.
And then most people that have given it a try didn't even read the book. So who goes to college expects to get a degree and never picked up the textbook? You get what I'm saying? So my saying, the Bible, it stands for basic instructions before leaving earth.
Okay.
It's a textbook. And so when I took it as such as a textbook, I read it and did it. Read it, did it. Read it, did it. I'll never forget the first scripture. One of the first scriptures I read was, be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. I want you just to think about that.
Okay.
Be quick to listen. I was not a quick listener at all. How can you be a quick listener when you're hypervigilant? That means most of us are always thinking usually to respond first.
Yes.
Slow to speak, my little mouth would be firing darts, right? And then slow to become angry. Angry was a standard defense mechanism.
Yes.
So when God says that and I say, okay, I'm down, I want to be on your team, he goes, well, then you're going to have to do this. Be quick to listen, slow to speak, slow to become angry. Well, how do I do that? You're going to need the Holy Spirit. It's about the relationship. And most people never even try him long enough to decide if they want a relationship or not. We make decisions based on what we read, see, but we never even get into the relationship to find out. We will date a jacked up, broken down person before we even give God a try and see if it works. So Live Save for 30 days was a movement that I thought, let's put it to work.
Yeah.
And then in partnership and collaborations with the churches, it was His Way Works.
Okay.
And His Way Works is really a study of the four gospels. What I learned is when I met the person of Jesus Christ through the gospels, and I got to see how he discipled, what he was all about, what he said in the red letters, I had a complete misconception about him. I was shading his character completely. I didn't even know him. He's so cool. Oh my gosh. So to me, in partnership with the churches, I see community outreach in the parking lots of the churches on these Saturdays or Sundays where we do His Way Works. I see spaghetti dinners, bringing in the community, allowing them to ask the hard questions. Jesus didn't shy away from the hard question. He wasn't like, oh my God, you said the F word, right?
Yeah.
Because he already knows, right? And he can handle it. And I think church needs to buck up a little bit and be able to relate to
Yeah.
the real society. That's why I love where I go in the flagship, which is the Rock, Temecula Valley. So, it was really the Kingdom First Global Community was all about establishing a bridge from the unchurched to the real Jesus. The discipleship community, Walking Warriors, and all the King's Men. We've been meeting in the virtual space. I've been doing Walking Warriors for 5 years.
Yes.
I've had people who faithfully go to church come to Walking Warriors on Monday and say, I was going to commit suicide last night. But I knew if I just got here, that you guys would guide me through. Community is everything. We heal. Stephanie Sherwood says we heal and grow in community. It's the only place that we can heal and grow is in community. And the Kingdom First Global Community is created to be a safe space for people to experience God and work on their spiritual key.
Love it.
I love it too. I really do. I love church. I really do. It is, even though I've created something called Church and Chat in the virtual space, it's important. But Church and Chat is attached to safe churches that I know are committed to the real Jesus movement, right? But they're a bridge. The virtual space is a bridge. It's meant to be a bridge to guide you into those spaces, because when you connect, it's not just about you receiving, right? It's also about you giving. So when you step inside of God's church and His place, you're there to bring you to the space.
Right.
You're there to give to, and there to be given to. But most people have such a consumer mindset that they take a consumer mindset into church. I have a relative of mine, and this relative says this, it blows me away too. I hate when they ask me for an offering right off the bat. I haven't even gotten no message first. I'm like, well, you go to concerts, games, you go to all
Yeah.
these things, and they ask you for money first, and sometimes months in advance. We go on cruises, you have to pay in advance. So I'm trying to figure out, how do you think the lights stay on in the building? How do you think all of this stuff comes together? Everything costs money. Why would you not want to give 10%? Why would you not want to give that to God? What do you do with it? So I just find it it's almost hypocritical. Now, if you decide that God isn't for you, it's fine. But I'll tell you this, every every human has a spirit. So what anchors your spirit to this earth? You have to decide, or you can't even functionally be yourself.
That makes a lot of sense. Is there any other brands that we want to touch on today?
I think we really did touch on the main acres.
Yes.
SLB Global Media Group, we're creating lanes through the media pathways, lanes and pathways to help people through media. I call the media lanes, that's in the black. I put everything in color categories. The media pathway is in the black, and it gives you access to the community and to the campus, whether that be Shawnee B on social, whether it be lessons from the
Mm-hmm.
journey, the
Mm-hmm.
shows. It gives you access to it without having to come all the way inside. So you're outside of it, but you're able to access it and gain at least what I call exposure.
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
media lane, when I said media is met as medicine, it really is medicine. I grew up, and because I was an only child, TV and music were my family, and they were my parents, and they taught me how to do life, right? They gave me my perspective. I can remember being in third grade and my third grade teacher calling my mom and laughing. She was laughing. And she said, "Your daughter came to school today." And she said, "Mrs. Wainwright, I'm so tired. I feel like a cocktail waitress." And she goes, "What does she know about being a cocktail waitress?" Well, I watched Charlie's Angels and Beretta, and they were always at the bar, and there was always the cocktail waitress, and they were paying her money, and I was like, well, that's a viable career choice. But that's why your children shouldn't watch TV without guidance, right? But it was really how I was learning. And then the Rockies came into play,
Okay.
and Rocky 1 through 4 gave me my grit. And what I mean is, suffer sexy. Growth and development is painful. It's a painful process. But I watched Rocky so much. The one thing I knew was there was going to be a problem and a pain point. He was going to have to endure some physical pain,
Right.
but he was going to stay the course, and he was going to win on the end. And so I can remember when there was things that were hitting me emotionally so hard, being doubled over and seeing Clubber Lang just taking it to Rocky's ribs in the middle of the ring and going, "You can endure. You can endure." That's how important media is. That's how important media is. So, media as medicine, it is really my childhood coming full circle. I'm creating things to utilize. When I say I want I want a partnership with Netflix. I want to create Netflix and Deal, Netflix and Feel, Netflix and Get Real. Because inside of those stories, you see yourself. You see the best of yourself, and you see the worst of yourself. And the music, forget about it. Right? We talked about Rescue Mission last week.
Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
only my exit plan, but I believe it's an exit strategy for everybody, and lessons from the journey as the entire anthology, the storybooks, the musical storybooks, the books, all of it that comes out of it, the different arms and branches, from unparented to relationship experience to through the fire. Like, everything is designed to help you live well. And every single thing I just mentioned to you as our anchors come out of my own life.
So, if we could get into a little bit more of how can somebody out there be brought into our campus?
So, you see that QR code right there first thing I want you to do is I just want you to click that QR code. I want you to press your thumb if you're on your device, press your thumb, and I want you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. In that YouTube channel, oh, sorry. And if you're on your computer, just take your little mousey thing and click it and then subscribe today. This Lessons from the Journey channel, we will utilize it to introduce you to the ways and the gates that you can access our virtual campus and our physical campus. Coming soon, probably within the next few weeks, what you're going to see is on our Facebook pages, we are going to create Facebook gates for SLB Global Brands Division, for Coach Shawnee, for Lessons from the Journey. All of our anchors will have a Facebook gate. So anywhere that you are interested, you enter in that gate, you become a part of that community, and you will be guided through our SLB on social pathways. Those pathways through social media will help you to know what you want to have access to, what you want to follow. It will open up the doors for you for everything that we're doing. But it starts with that little QR code in the corner of your screen. Click your mouse, press your thumb. Did I get it good?
I think so.
I think I got it good. I think I got it good. I was nervous about this episode, but I was serious about this episode.
I know.
These are my babies, Marina.
I know they are.
And I've worked really hard living them, and I believe that they truly do work, and they really will change your life. So before I close us, Marina, do you have anything that you want to ask me? Anything that you want to say?
No, it's been quite a journey. I've gone through some of these brands and these experiences myself. And hope everybody out there is interested in one or a few of these areas to try out and to explore.
You experienced Pastor B's 3 days.
Yes.
Can you tell me, I'm turning the mic on you now.
Oh, no.
Can you tell me what was your experience with 3 days?
So 3 days was a solo experience, first of all. And it took a snapshot of where I am in this point of life, what my thoughts were, what passages in the Bible spoke to me, and we would talk through it. What was interesting is, Sean, you were part of that experience as well. Sean and Pastor B's reflection on each day was almost identical to one another. So that led me to believe that I am where I'm supposed to be. I'm learning what I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to learn. And areas of growth that I could take on myself.
Yeah, I saw a huge, since we finished, I've seen a relaxation come over you. I know that there's still some I'm learning,
Yeah.
but there is a relaxation into the process that is kind of sweet to watch.
It is, and I think it was more of a confirmation, right? Because sometimes the things that you hear, you're not sure.
That's right. You
You're
doubt
not
yourself.
sure. You doubt yourself. But yes, it continues to be a process. But those 3 days were pretty intense in an amazing way. But again, that's just one of the ways to enter into the community.
Enter into the ecosystem or onto the campus. And so what's going to happen next? I'm excited for episode 4. Episode 4, you're going to meet some of the team. And the reason that you're going to meet some of the team is because we're going to talk about that last M, which is metrics. Remember what the blueprint is: vision, mission, motives, methods, metrics. So now that we've talked about the methods and you understand the methods, now we're going to get into the metrics. And the metrics are really, we're going to cast a vision, and we're going to be very bold next week to say what we see before it is actually manifested. And some of the things, y'all, let me say this to you. They don't make no sense because I don't know how, but I know who. And because I know who, I know that these things will come to pass. So I'm bold enough to get on here with my team and share a little bit about the metrics and how we plan to arrive at those goals and how we plan to bring you into our metrics process. Because, like I always say, you are living in a game. So master the game of life, manage the game of life, and together we get to become our own champions. So next week, I hope you'll join us. I hope you got the QR code so that you know and get reminded when the episodes come on, and that you can know everything that you need to know to love your life. Until next Sunday, Shawnell Brown, I'm out.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let's go. Get on your mark, let's go. What you waiting for? There's so much more. The future's yours. Let go, explore. It's yours for sure. Sing with me with fear. So to God I stay near. I keep my hand to the plow. There's no turning back now. My future look clear. I decided to see. He said follow me. On the journey you'll see. Get on your mark, let's go. What you waiting for? There's so much more.